Okay, so we are now going to start our Shiurim on Otzrot Chaim. So far, what we've done so far is just the Hagdomas, just to get a little bit of a background, because the problem with this limud is that as soon as we start, we're throwing into deep ends. Hagam, that we're mechalik between the Tohu and Tikkun. That seems to be a threshold between between the way the Rishonim, and until the Ramak we were learning all b'derech Tohu, derech sephirot. Each one individual looking at the sefer b'fnei atzmo and seeing what the influence was there. And the chiddush of the Arizal was to look at everything b'derech partzufim. B'derech partzufim. And we see a remez as well in the Zohar. The Rav Shalom Sharabi says, "Until when I'm going to be teaching you about the Tohu?" And he says, "From now, I'm going to teach you about the Tikkun." That's when after the Shviras we're going to be learning, then there was a process called the Tikkun Alamas. So again, there's a difference between looking at it b'derech Shviras and looking there partzufim. Partzufim is much later on, it's after the Zman of the Tikkun. The problem is as soon as you open up the Ohr Ein Sof or the Otzrot Chaim or a Kabbalists, they throw you into partzufim. Well, make up your mind, there's no partzufim here. And that's why you have to go on to this Havana. We spoke about Reka. Were you here when we spoke about Reka? But no? It's just the way that you're looking at me. You can see, you know. Okay. So maybe I'll just summarize what's doing over here, because we have a principle. This is really drawn out from a sefer I got from. It's called the Biur Sephirot. Actually, has a new name. It's a new Medur came out called the Mein Moshe. And this Mein Moshe is of Moshe Shatz, a big Makubal in Yerushalayim, and he was medayik from one of the early Rishonim. The Rebbe and the Ramban is called Arizal in Granada, and there he's medayik from him from different Makomis over there. The Taka there's a musik called Reka. The Haim is like this, that we can't say that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is missing anything. If you say Taka the sephirot weren't there at the beginning, or the partzufim weren't there at the beginning, then you're saying that Kodesh Baruch Hu was chaser Shalom. Right? Muslims zogen that Taka everything was there. But how can you have everything there? There's a process here, you know. There's the shvirim, there's the tikkun. Again, that's only because we were looking at milimata lemala. That's only when we were looking at over here in the world of bina, the world of time, where things have to take time. So therefore, you have a process from shvir to tikkun. Mashkein came when it's klap the Eibishter. It's a kulu yichud gomo, right? There's no time. There's no this before that, and therefore to say anything opposite than that, the fact that it's it's kotas mitzias, you're not giving an actual picture of the mitzias as it is. The Hainu, when we speak about Ein Sof, that means everything is in there, and that helps us when we start learning to still, even though that he throws the book at us, there is as soon as we start partzufim, this and that, the olamas, wait a little bit, give us a shalshalas of the volume. The truth is that it's everything there, the babas achas. And again, the way we're looking at this is that Arizal gets a nevuah, right? He's seeing the olamas ha'ilyonim, and he's getting hadrocha from Elyon Novi, right? And he's seeing this all bebas achas, right? He's being koach chochma, the ayin, the koach riyah. When he goes up there and he's seeing these things, he's seeing all at one go, right? This is the difference between bina and chochma. Chochma is the klal, you see everything in one go. Bina is that I'm on the telephone, you're not in the room, I have to explain to you everything, all the potim in the room. There's a chair and there's a table, and that's taking me half an hour to explain to you. But if you're to be here, in one shniya you see everything. The shaila is, if you see everything, how are you supposed to put it down to paper? When he goes in the Lamas Elyonim and he gets this nevuah, how do you want him to explain everything about what this happened and that? Because everything is interlinked and there's no times there, and you're seeing one big tmuna. That's what we see over here. That's the little bit of a bayah that everybody has in getting into this limud, because there's so many details at one time and there's no real seder in things. That's mebalba the oil. But we take it ba'adocha that you have to understand. That's the word makabel of things, and we'll put things into place. Now, the musig of Reka, just to summarize, because you weren't here last time, is that everything is there. The shaila is, what's our focus on? Our focus is on the forefront or the background. Okay? For example, there cannot be a sephira which exists on its own. Can you understand? You understand? It's like we said, the example of limbs of a behemoth. There's 25 limbs of the behemoth right here. It's not a behemoth. Each limb is not an entity b'fnei atzmo. It can't work b'fnei atzmo. There's no toelis of being b'fnei atzmo. It's only a toelis when it works in as in a whole. So Muslim Zogen, as I state everywhere in the Arizal, the partzufim were there in the background working. Except all of us. Why are we speaking about sephirot time now? And why are we speaking about partzufim later on, or even before then? And he's mixing the terminology. In one line, we talk about sephirot, partzufim, sephirot, because he's looking at the perspective in two different ways. He's looking at the forefront, and he's looking at the background, trying to give you as best of a picture as he can of what he's looking at. Okay. So not to be babble with the kasha. Is it either this or is it either that? Which one? Make up your mind. Teretz is both, right? There's 6 sides of the cube. It depends which way you're looking at it. Everything is kula emes. The shayla is where we're placing our focus on. And plus, with the charts of erechim, it helps us a lot because we can call a nahi, we can call it a chagas, we can call it a chabat. It depends where you're holding in your level of perspective, right? And the mashal we've given many times is a person, right? A person, Yaakov, right, is the grandfather. He's the son, and he's the father. Well, which one is he? Come on, make up your mind. He's the grandfather. You're right. The truth is, he's all at one go, right? He's the grandfather because of the grandchildren, and he's the father because he has sons, and he's also a son because he has a father. It's not a stira. So we can call it nahi a chaged and a chaged a chabad. Depends which way we're going to set up the partzuf. That's b'derech erechim. Okay, that was a little overall sikum what we spoke about. Okay, so let's start now. Shaar Igulim.
How do you type the word raka? What's?
I think that's background.
Right.
Background. Yeah.
Meaning looking at things.
You have to realize that anything you look at, even in this world, everything you look at always has a background. For example, you have 2 chairs in front of you, and you ask somebody, describe what you see. So one person will say, I see 2 chairs. And the other person will tell you, I see space. What do you see space? There's chairs, there's not space. Because I'm not actually focusing on the chair, I'm actually focusing the space between the 2 chairs. Okay? Except our focus is not really on the background, the focus is always on the forefront. But you have to definitely listen that if there's no background, there's no forefront. It's hotalia. You can't have chairs without a background. You have to have space in order to hold the chairs. Okay, so as I was saying, you cannot have one without the other. Do you understand what I'm saying? Without space, there's no place for the chairs to be there.
That's why that's the motion.
That's why. That's coming to answer the kasha. Why is it that Arizal jumps to partzufim, onfang Shaar Igulim? Way before the Shvira filo, there's nothing there. Mechites is partzuf again. Partzuf and taita is tikkun, right? Partzuf is a collection of the sephirot all working together. That gives you a Rav Shalom. That's a yichud. Everything before that is always b'derech shvira. One partzuf, one sefer b'fnei atzmo doesn't work by itself. Okay, so you expect at the beginning of the Otzrot Chaim or Otzrot Chaim to explain to you, first there was sefer, there was a sefer called Keser, and then there was Chochmah, and then there was Bina. No, he talked about Ar, Pin, and Ab, and Ima, and those are collections of that, but we're not speaking about that. We have to go by Adrocha. You can't speak about one without the other. It doesn't work. You always have to have the background to the thing in order to amplify the forefront. That's not, but you have to always keep in the back of the mind, it's always there. It's always there.
So you can't describe Yaakov as a father until you speak about the children.
Right.
Then you know that I'm talking about him as a father.
Right.
Rather than as a son, because...
You can't work with the sphere of Chochmah. There's no parts of that to help it, to make it work. It doesn't work.
Why do you choose to speak about it like that? When you could speak when the other alternative would also be true.
Well, we want to speak about the spheres first, and then that's the focus of our attention, to describe what the spheres are, and so on and so forth. And if we want to speak about the yichud, the way the way they work together, all the spheres together, then you have to move into a different system called the partzufim. But it's not this or that, it's both together. They're always there. Okay? That's the story of Rav Israel Medornado. Okay? It's a poshtu yisod. Everything is in the Eibush. If not, chasarta. You made a chasar. Okay, so let's start now. Shaar Igulim. The first, we're doing Otzrot Chaim. A little background. Otzrot Chaim is one of the many kitvei Arizal. Why we're learning the Otzrot Chaim? Simply because it's the most mesudedike sefer that we have of the kitvei Arizal. There's many sefarim, and this is going to take us through more or less the shalshelis of the world, the way it happened. And besides what I just told you, Tonan, that he's ma'arav sugyas, but more or less we see a shalshelis happening, the way the worlds are developing themselves, and so on and so forth, till we get to the final details of the partzufim. That's why we're starting with Otzrot Chaim, sort of a kitzur of the Otzrot Chaim. Otzrot Chaim is more made of different meduras, medura kama, medura basra, medura tanina, different meduras, basically the same thing. For the reason was that there was a year and 10 months that Arizal learned with the Marchol, learned with Arizal, and after the year and 10 months, he took the next 40 years of his life, the Marchol of Chaim Vital, and rehashed the information. So from there came on many different editions of what he is. So they were melaked everything into one sefer called Otzrot Chaim. That's partially some of the Sfarim. There's other Sfarim. But out of all of that, the Mahalach and the Mahalach in Eretz Yisrael is a kolporim to learn the Otzrot Chaim. That's a kitzur, and that gives us a good overview of the Arizal system.
Why do you say the Chassid from the Rebbein Shalom are saying the wissen the partzufim are not the Rebbein Shalom? Just descriptions how the Rebbein Shalom is manning the world. It's not him.
The emes is nothing which is not him. There is nothing which is not him. Anything we see, the emes is it's not some creation. It's netak. For example, if I were to build a table or a stender, I build a stender and I walk out of the room. It's fine. I build a stender. The meister, the bria, is not a zohar. It's not b'chalal. It's more doimit to a flashlight. When I put on the flashlight, it looks like I have a whole world, and I have a stender and chairs on there. But I understand, as soon as I stop putting my finger on the button, everything disappears. It's not clear to yesh me'ayin. Again, we find this losh in the Rishonim, yesh me'ayin. But etzim, it's not. There's no real yesh me'ayin. That's one of his vaults of the Arizal. There's no real yesh me'ayin. We'll see that all through the kitvei Arizal. The way you create things is through all, and a bit more or, a bit less than or, and then that's megashem the or, and that creates something. And from that is created something else. From that, it's always a shalshelis of the volume. But everything is linked. And when he takes his, the Eibishter Kivyocha takes his finger off the flashlight, everything reverts back to him. It's all an extension, a reflection, or for example, the rays of the sun is an example given of him. Right? It looks at it something different. It looks like it's a partuf bifnei atzmo. It looks like it has no connection whatsoever. It's a tos mikol. Everything has the shorish back into the shorish, back into the shorish. And the same with the seed. In it, inevitably, it has all the shroshim of the tree and the plants and all the pales that come out from it. That's what we're speaking about here. That's the stacklos here.
Just tzimtzum.
Sorry?
Like a tzimtzum.
That's right. That's the loshon, right? The tzimtzum after tzimtzum until we get what we want. Okay, so we're ready to any other questions? You want to ask any questions? Ready to go. Oh, okay. So, Otzrot Chaim, Shaar Igulim is the first Shaar. Drush Adam Kadmon. Okay. Drush Adam Kadmon is what we have an abbreviation for. It's Ak. This is one of the worlds that will be created. This is the first world which will be created. And from Ak, this world will come all the other worlds. Okay, so Akdama Achas Kolelis, says the Arizal. Akdama Achas Kolelis Mina Ein Sof Ad Ze Anpin. I'm going to give you an example, an Akdama, which includes everything until the Ein Sof. Mina Ein Sof Ad Ze Anpin. Like I said, we don't know anything about partzufim. We're just starting off from zero here. But we have to. It's interesting to know that beside the Azer Ampin is not the last partzuf. It's usually nok. nugveya. That means the the nugveya of ze'anpin. The shaila is, why did he stop and say till ze'anpin? So the Mepharshim a little bit to find out what is pshat of it. Why is he only explaining till ze'anpin? But later on we'll see there's a Shaar Nok. He does explain to us all about the Shechina and the Nok and all this. Why is he stopping here? The answer is, the rule is that, the same one Yerusha, is that hu lokeach shtei manas, hu lakach etz mana le'atzmo, v'noisen etz mana shalah. Dahainu, the Zal will always receive shefa. I might be saying words that we're not familiar yet, but this is the way it works. When he receives shefa, milemala, from the partzufim lemala, he always takes 2 parts for himself, which is called chug, chasim and gevurz, and he takes on his chelik, and he passes it on to her. So whatever you say in Zah will happen in Nok as well. So if I tell you all the processes and all the system that happens to Zah, from Zah, and what's coming to Zah will happen identically with Nok. So there's no real, there are differences but in the chololiistic, this is a chololiistic akdama, in that there's no difference. Therefore, we speak about Zah is like speaking about Nok. Then he continues with that. Ki tchila hakol haya kol metzias or poshut. At the beginning of all things, what was there? There was an or poshut. After that, or is a dogma, right? Obviously, this is double gashmi. Or there's no all there. There's no, if you go into the olam le'elyonim, you won't see any all there whatsoever. Again, but it's the closest we have double ruchni, so we use the moshe of all. And he says kol ha-metzias. When I'm saying kol ha-metzias, well, there's nothing there yet. He says kol ha-metzias. But now betchila, he says betchila at the beginning. As this, there was an end, and there was a middle, and there was a beginning. We have to mazvir. So again, da ki betchila hakol haya kol ha-metzias. There was a metzias, some type of metzias. They're all pashut. Okay, it's all pashut. V'nikra Ein Sof. And this metzias that was there is called Ein Sof. Ein Sof. V'lo haya sham Shum Chalal, Shum Avir, Panoi. There's only Takir and Ein Sof. Ein Sof is infinity. Ela Kol Haya Or Ha-Ein Sof. It's a little Shino Loshon. He said Ein Sof, and now he's talking about all Ein Sof. What does that mean? Okay, I want to be magna a little bit, just to tell you, this is something the Mefarshim say, and the Ramaz at the back of the Otzrot Chaim, there's a Hagos, Ramaz, very important, that in that Ramaz lived 80 years after the Malcho, 450 years ago or so. And the Ramaz says over there, and other Mefarshim, what? Rav Moshe Zakuta. One of the early Mefarshim, it's around 80 years after the Malcho. Huh? Yeah? Yeah. And there he says also the Leshem Tak and Leshem in Beurim. We know Leshem Shabo Ba'achlama is the grandfather of the Rav Yashiv. He has a sefer, very, very beautiful sefer on Otzrot Chaim called the Beurim. He has 4 seforim, Adam Kadmon, he has sefer Klolim, sefer Deya. But what's nageh to us is sefer Beurim. And there he says the same about over there, that what we're speaking about over here is going to sound very strange to you, what I'm about to say, but this is what they say, is that we're not talking about the Eibishter Kihuzeh. Strange, right? We're learning Kabbalah, the highest ruchnis that we have in Yiddishkeit here, and we're not mentioning the Eibishter at all Kihuzeh. There's no mention in all Otzrot Chaim about Hashem. We mentioned Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, we mentioned all the Shemus and Kodoshim, nothing to do with Eibush. As the Zohar says, Leish Machshava Tfisa Kla. Leish Machshava Tfisa Kla. We have to leave the Eibush out of it. Kiviyachal. It sounds funny, but it's the Emes. Because we have no Machshava, says the Zohar, we have no Tfisa whatsoever. There's not Shaar B'chava to put anything on paper. Ayin Lo Rosa. It's not Shaar B'chava to give a bureau whatsoever. All we're doing here, all the Arizal explained to is the Totzol that he's seen coming out from this. He started off, the story starts off from the Ein Sof. Ein Sof is a creation. A creation, the Hainu, not Mamash creation, because really is no Musig of Yesh Ma'ayin. But most like we give the example of the rays of the sun. The rays of the sun is not actually the sun, but it's not actually not part of the sun. It's attached to the sun, it's a totzal from the sun. So we started the story once upon a time from the rays of the sun. The Ein Sof is not the Eibush. Hagam we say Bo Hu. base hey afterwards, Baruch Hu. It's so kodesh, says the Mefarshim. We say Baruch Hu, but it doesn't mean not to make a toast, mikol, that is the Eibishter, not only the Eibishter. And then there's a musik called the Ohr Ein Sof. This is the Shinoloshon. First the Ein Sof, and then with the Ohr Ein Sof, it's Vita creation, says the Mefarshim. So we have the Eibishter, Leis Machshava Tfisa Klal, that we're not speaking about. Okay? Which is unfathomable, because if we're talking about infinity already, Ein Sof is infinity, we're talking about infinity of infinity, you know, it's just, we don't have these calculations, it doesn't stim with our sagas. What's more than infinity? Infinity is mispashas forever, you know. So, we don't talk about it, we don't metapel with this. We're talking about, not only we're talking about the Ein Sof, we're talking about the Ohr Ein Sof, which is a vital tzimtzum of the Ein Sof. So there we said there was no chalad, it was all pshutik mashma. Now, in the Otzrot Chaim, what's very important.
Where do you see two things here? Where do you see there's something?
Nikra Ein Sof. When Nikra Ein Sof, the Ohr portion called Nikra Ein Sof.
Yes.
Then he says, "V'lo haya sham shum chalav shum avipano ela hakol haya Ohr Ein Sof."
Why isn't that the same thing?
This is the Ohr of the Ein Sof.
Ohr portion Nikra Ein Sof, and that's called Ohr Ein Sof.
Yeah, Ein Sof is Ohr, right, masculine, but this is the Ohr Ein Sof. Look at the verse.
When you call the Ein Sof, you mean the Ohr Ein Sof.
Yeah.
The Kriya of the Ein Sof is Ohr Ein Sof.
The one thing.
What we call the Ein Sof is Ohr Ein Sof.
That's right.
Because the Ohr is the Gilui of it. So what, you
That's
have a tfisa
Right.
on the Shem.
Yes, correct. So in the Otzrot Chaim itself, we'll find a sefer in the bottom of the Otzrot Chaim. It's called Biurim. Hagos of Biurim, Rav Halpern was Misadir, brought the different mefarshim, the Sholem, the Leshem many times, other mefarshim, Shem and Sosan, other mefarshim on the Otzrot Chaim. And then he says, Taka, what's the Mitzias over here? What is this Ohr Ein Sof? What's the Mohusa? The Taka brings down, I think if I'm not mistaken, from the Dir Sholem, that we're talking about Ohr Chesed. Ohr Chesed, interesting, Ohr Chesed. Ohr Chesed, because imagine it's Ohr Chesed. The emes is the Leshem is Masvir, and an Ohr, that there's only really two koiches in the world. There's what we call chasadim and gvur. So we call chug. Chasadim and gvur. These are two koiches. That is it. That is it. There's no other two koiches. Eshemayim, says the Leshem. Those are two koiches which make everything go about. So what do we have here? We have an Ein Sof, which is called chasadim. What we call the Eibishter's Kulo Chesed, this is where it comes from. There was Ohr Ein Sof, which was Mispashid Ad Ein Sof, which is infinity, and it was Kulo Chesed. Again, how do we explain the difference between Gvura and Chesed? Gvura is potential, Kulo potential, but no actualization. Right? When you have chesed, giving, but you never potentialize everything. It's only when you tzimtzum yourself, you're able to come to actualization, right? That's like the mayim v'keli. Mayim v'keli. It's very nice to pour water. It won't help you at all because the water is just running off with no tafkid. Just to give doesn't help anything. You have to have the restraint, the right amount of giving restraint. That gives you the right balance. That's tiferes. So the beginning here we have kulo chesed, kulo potential. We can do anything we want here. Later on, when we see the tzimtzum, that's when the gevuros and the dim are going to come about, and that's going to help us help the Eibishter will have the Eibishter. That's what the Eibishter creates as a world. So the Vale, without going too fast, we have over here the Ohr Posher. Now, let's continue. Now the derech of the Arizal is while he's speaking about the Devarim, just to confuse you a little bit, he throws in things on the side. Okay, this is a side issue now. When the that's a musig in Aliyas Man. Those who understand the Kabbalists, Aliyas Man, when he wanted to start the process of this creation called the world, what did he do? Lahatzil and Netzalim, to create the creation. Lesibadon, that's for the reason which he's about to give. He Lihikorer rachum v'chanu ki ein ba'olam mi sheikabel rachamim mimenu ech yikorer rachum v'chein ader ze b'kol ein kinuyim. So There we go. Very nicely. He explains to us the reason why the Eibishter seems to be, the reason why he wanted to create L'Sibol Nas, is that because he wanted to be called Rachum V'Chanu. And if there's nobody here to be calling him by Rachum, therefore, how can he be called Rachum? He wants to be called merciful. And so on and so forth, the rest of the Kinui. And that is very, very schwer. All the Mepharshim straight away jump on this, and it's a Pashta Kasha. The Eibishter needs anything from us. He needs to be called Rachum. I mean, what's going on? He has a Rotzen, and he wants to cover it. What's the Pshat here? Noch a Kasha the Mepharshim also ask over here, then in Sefer Klolim, at the beginning of Otzrot Chaim, there's something called Shaar Klolim. Not Sefer Klolim, it's a Shaar Klolim. Shaar Klolim is basically a sikum of all Otzrot Chaim in a few pages. It's very, very difficult. Most people, I heard Taka the Hezbollah was the reason why the Shaar Klolim is put at the beginning of the Otzrot Chaim. He basically throws the book at you, the whole thing, just packs it in within a few pages, all Otzrot Chaim, just simply to put you off. To put you off, yeah, apparently that was the vote, because we even see this vote in the Zohar itself, because we find hadrogas in the Giluyim, that even Rav Shalom Sharabi was to megala to us and be'adocha. It was first Taka the Tohu, and for many years Taka only darshan by the Teokun, and then we see the Zohar says, oh, now I can megale, talk about the Shiur, I can talk about now about the Tikkunim. Was fine, just tell us a one go. What's my teretz was? He didn't have Reshus. There was always a level of releasing these Giluyim slowly but surely. So even at the times Arizal, even the Taka, they learned Kabbalah. The Taka was a different source completely. Only the Asara, and Taka learned from B'tzniya, and the way they would make sure it would be kept in this type of surah is to be a lot of times to put people off. And the way they did that is often just overwhelmed them with. And the Torah's Chochem, which is Talmud Chava, the Rashash, actually goes as far as to say that they actually used to make mistakes. The Malchut actually made mistakes in the Otzrot Chaim for this purpose, just to put off people who are not worthy to learn, just for them to give up. Okay, our times now the lesson says it is not applicable. The Shaar Shamayim, Shaar Rachamim are all open. The Geluyim are megala one day, and we will have more Geluyim than actually they had, and we have much more of a heter to learn than they did. In this Shaar HaKlolim state a different sibah for the creation of the world. There, he says because he wanted to be meitiv libiro yisrael. He's a meitiv. He's kula chesed, we said, right? So all chesed, he wanted to be meitiv. How can meitiv? There's nobody there. So he creates an am in order to be meitiv to them. Poshta teret, poshta tam. What's a stilta? What we're seeing over here. Here seems to be a different tam, and even this tam needs a bio. So
even your reason of meitiv has got the same kash as the first reason.
Shtickle, it's not as bad. Here it seems to be a bal guy over here. He wants to be called Rachum. There, Chotch at least. Yeah. So all the Mepharshim people, talking to Ramchal, to the Lesh, and to everybody speaks about it. The Ramchal speaks about it. They all speak about this kasha. So there's another Mefarsh Taka called the Kerem Shalom. Kerem Shalom is a beautiful pirush on the Otzrot Chaim Taka. And I'll read the other Lashon. Taka is brought down over here. He says that Kavonihi Ki alidei she'ein sof bochu shu tachlis hatoiv be'etzem v'derech hatoiv lehetiv l'luzoso l'chein boro hasvirus yesh me'ayin ובהם שייכים לכינויים האלו של רחום וחנון ואין סוף ברוך הוא מתלבש בהם ועל יודם הוא פועל אל טובוסו ולבני האדם ורק על יודם אנחנו יכולים לקבל את טובוסו וחנוסו ובזה יוצא מכוח לפועל עצמוס וטובוסו. I like this. The Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to be native, but he doesn't want to overwhelm us, right? So he has to create a system in order that we can access. Right? Now the Kesufas, it wouldn't be fair that we're just overwhelmed with all goodness. We want to work for it. We want to feel taki it's magirli, right? Now the Kesufa. So what do we have to do? Kadosh Baruch Hu puts up a system called the Yud Gil Midas, and also the system of the spheres and so on and so forth, that when we call upon them, or when we have a shaykhus to them, when we're mispaleh doing mitzvahs, we're able to tap into these Yud Gimel Midas and all these spheres, and therefore draw down this goodness. Draw down this goodness that we're speaking about. Again, we're not talking about the Eibishter. We're not talking about Izabal God, because again, the principle is we're not talking about the Eibishter. We're talking about things that will come out from the Eibishter. This is a system being formed here, a system for our tafkid, our tachlis, and therefore that's what the Sibel of Das, meaning this system has to be created, and a system called Rachum V'Chonon Ali Day that we call the Rachum V'Chonon. We can now access this Shefa. It's all for our good. Again, for the Siba Nodas, which is Leheti Boyo. So that's the Ikatami.
So you're putting together the reasons or not?
Yeah.
Putting them together?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You're saying that well, the Be'etzem...
Be'etzem doesn't need anything. It's only for our good.
So because he's Nikra Toiv, therefore he wants to become, to be called Rachum. Really, it's one reason.
Well, it's more than that. It's not that he wants to be called Toiv. It's not that he wants it to be Toiv. He wants us to call him Toiv for our benefit, not for his benefit. He doesn't want to just give us chesed. He wants us to work for it. He wants us to mispalel and to call upon his name, Rachum, in order that we should. It's for our benefit. So we're looking at milamale mata. We think that he wants to be called, for his purpose. He wants to be called Rachum. No, we have to look milamata lemala. He wants us for us to call him Rachum in order that we should get benefit. There are many pages on this lesson, and some of you are more would be on. Okay, that was on the outside. Let's go back to the development of the
The
world.
Ramchal puts the third one in. It says that the deepest one is Gila Yichud, which also ties in with these other two as well, because it's through the Yichud that all these things can happen. So Yichud of all different midas that he can be made to. He says that's the deepest kavanah.
Yeah, but they don't explain why he wants lihikor, because he wants to be called Rachum. What's Pshat now?
Because of the shameless of the way that he's Monshech HaShefa.
Yeah, okay, so we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, but Yichud shows exactly how it works. It's not just, like we were saying at the beginning, it's not just like this midah, that midah, it's all of them together. So Yichud, the interaction between all of them as one.
Okay, let's continue. As tzimtzum atzmo be'emsa or shulo. So what did he do? He went through a process called tzimtzum. We'll discuss it in a minute. Benekudas hamerkas emtsois shabo. V'sham tzimtzum atzmo el tzdodim v'sivivois v'nisha chalal b'ntayim. V'zeh haya tzimtzum rishon shel ha'matzil ha'elyon. Okay, so let's people can make a big mistake here in how to uplearn this. First kasha the Mufashim ask over here is that where is the middle point of infinity? What? Well, he said he was Nikudem Ekozem Sois. We're talking about the Ein Sof here, right? And in the middle, the Ein Sof, he created the tzimtzum.
So it must be a Shem Sofer. It's impossible anywhere else.
It's impossible, right? That's the cash, right? So, no emotion, no.
Uh-huh.
Huh? Spoke about this, remember?
Yeah, I remember we spoke about it. I don't know the test.
Right. Okay. There are many different tools into this. Many tools. And one of the tools, I think, is the Beis Lechem Yehuda of Pataya and his Pirush and the Otzrot Chaim. I think he says over there that we don't understand. It just doesn't make sense. But that test, the best test I like, I think it's the Kerem Shlomo Taki says, I think also the Leshem says it's like this, is that what he decided to do was to designate an area. In the middle of that area which he designated, that is the emsa of that designated area. Right?
What do you mean designate? What area? Sorry, what do you mean
It's
area?
infinity. We're talking about infinity. We don't know where that area is. We don't know where the area is. No. We didn't.
Is that the Tzedek?
Ein Sof is a space. It's a space. It's infinity. Space continues on and on and on. Right? Now, a portion of that space he designated and said, okay, in the middle of that space, I will now make a tzimtzum and make an area for the worlds to come about. So, It's a sheina teretz. So what happened over here? So as nachmu, v'az tzimtzum atzu be'emtza or shelo, b'nekuda mekodes be'emtzois shabo, inside shabo of that designated space.
It's not mashma.
Why? Why not?
The mashma says tzimtzum atzmei be'emtza ha'oir sheloi.
Which all of that all which he designated? Okay, otherwise it just doesn't make any sense.
He doesn't say the benekuda Americas and soy. First is be'emtza, and this is benekuda Americas and soy shaboy. So
what of boy of the oir sheloi?
Yeah, that's the emtza. Yeah. I'm saying it's not the same. That first be'emtza doesn't mean mamish in the center. It just means somewhere in the middle.
He's got another teretz.
There's a few, like I said, the 5 tours, we're not going to go through them right now. But let's go back to V'sham tzimtzum atzma letzodim v'visivot fasav. Now the Shaila, he made a tzimtzum. Now, how do we look at that tzimtzum? The Farshim Mutake discuss, did the tzimtzum happen from outwards to inwards or from inwards to outwards? How did the tzimtzum come about? So it's interesting enough. I mean, in the old Otzrot Chaim, you'll see that there's a dot drawn right in the middle of this. This is a picture from the Rav Chaim Vital himself. He draws a picture, a round picture, and maybe it's over the page. No, it's not that one. Is it over the page? No, it's in the Otzrot Chaim. Sorry, you won't find it there. I didn't bring my Otzrot Chaim. In the Otzrot Chaim, it's written a picture with a dot in the middle. And just to show how the medactic they all discuss what is that dot. How the medak in the pictures, what is that dot? They go, upstream is sugar. Is it dafka? Is it kudus and sois? Is the malchus the malchus? What is that the point where the tzimtzum started? Is that the point where the tzimtzum ended? Or all the dinim, did they all gather there? It came like this and they all gathered there, or it pushed out. The lesson, interesting life, he says it's a mistake. It's a mistake. It's a printing mistake. The printers, when they read this, nekuda emtsois, they put a nekuda inside. Very simple, some people can make a big pill out of it. But the lesson, I call upon him. So the Mufashim, I think Rubik Kulam Taka all say that tzimtzum happened from in to out, from inwards outward. We'll find nafkaminas as well.
That's a shad which seems to go the other way.
You crumpled something in, yeah.
But we're trying to create space here.
Yeah, so you create space.
How can you create space by crumpling? You got all over and one crumple.
Yeah,
a circle of tzimtzum.
You just bring the all. What's so hard to imagine?
You push the oil
push the oil until you crumple it. That's dot in the middle, and you crumpled everything into that little dot. But around that dot, you have all.
And there's some oil in the middle still.
Yeah, Igulim. We're saying it's a printing mistake on the Rashash. We'll see how that works.
But you're not going with that. You're saying.
Yeah, we're saying taki.
That's what he's saying here. It starts from the middle and then it goes out to the sephirot.
Yeah. Starts from the beginning, from the middle points, Mekozi, the Kuda Mekozi, inside Shabo, V'sham tzimtzum, from that place onwards, until Atzma Letzodim, went outwards, all the way around. So what do we have? We have the Ohr Ein Sof, called the Ohr Saviv, Ohr Ein Sof, and then you have a Mocha, which is Nisha Chalal Bentayim. V'hayazeh tzimtzum rishon shel amatzi l'nyan. Now what does this mean, Chalal? How do you understand Chalal? What's Chalal mean? Emptiness. Now what does that mean? Vacuum? What does it mean? It means how do you touch up Chalal?
The oil has been taken away. The Ohr Ein Sof is not there.
Right. So what is there?
It's weaker. It's a weaker oil. Diminished.
I think it's taken away now. It's completely removed. That one. It says.
We don't have the kingdom to understand it, huh?
You could say that. You can finish at time and no time. It's just to understand. So exactly the Mufashim say over here, the Divrei Shalom. In fact, it's also brought in the Agos and Bi'urim there in the Otzrot Chaim. Here we're talking about a case where we're talking about the Ohr Ein Sof is Kulo Chesed. And we said there's only two koichos in the oil. We said there's a koach chasodim and the koach gvuros, which is nicknamed called chug. So when I say chug, you know what I'm talking about, right? Chasodim and gvuros. So obviously, if you're taking away the chasodim, what's left? Gvuros. Gvuros are left there. That's exactly what there is. Not to make the toes, there's nothing. You know, there's a vacuum, there's absolutely nothing there. It can't be. The Eibishter, there's a yichud gomor. With Ma'amin Tak is a yichud, the Eibishter, everything belongs. There's nothing which is chos, nothing which is netak, nothing which is separate from the Eibishter. Everything, every creation is just an extension of Him, Kiviyachol, right? In many, many different tzimtzumim. The Chalal is also there. The Hainu, if you were to imagine there's black paints, and on top of this black paint there's white paint, and you're removing the white paints, what are you doing? You just migale something which is there. It's like you said, it's a new bria, not something which is new, as supposed to say that it's just been created. It was always there. This you saw in the Reka again. You can only say something's chesed if you have some gvur there to compare it to, right? You can't have something white. There's no musik of colors. You can only say white because you know that's compared to black. It's white. You can only say there was chasadim there if there was gvuros there. Now, why do we want gvuros b'chlal? He's meitiv. He wants to give us hatova. He wants to tzkulu. What's he bringing all the dinim up? You can just imagine that it's a very hot space there. It's kula dinim, kula gvuros. But what's the tafkis b'chlal? This is the biggest soil in Kalim. In Kabbalah, we can summarize Kabbalah in 2 words. That's it. All of Kabbalah, everything that you'll learn from Mikan Le'abah, just remember this. Really, you can summarize it in 2 words. Ohr and Keli. Ohr and Kli. That's all there is. Okay? Now, even to tzimtzum that, you can say 1 word. Everything is just Ohr. I told you it's Ohr and Kli. Kli comes from the Ohr. That's the process. Very simple. Now you know all Kabbalah. We can go home now. That's it. That's tell me you learn Kabbalah. Yeah, it's all clear. That's it. It's all. That's emes. Right? How do we see that from the onfang? The onfang. We are creating now a keli. Right? You can't expect the Eibishter to give when there's no receptacle. Makes sense, right? He's meiti. He wants atova. He wants to give. Where's the keli? How's the keli going to be created? Through the gvuros. Remember, again, the klolim chasadim is kulam is pashit, is all potential with no actualization, as the water is flowing. But you're thirsty. What do you need? You need a cup to restrain the water in order to actualize the potential of this chesed. How can I be ne'en of chesed if it's just going over my head? I need a receptacle there. I'm the receptacle. The Eibishter wants to be made me. I'm the keli. That's the gvuros. The gvuros will be now the building blocks for the kli. We're building a kli, and that's going to be Adam Kadmon. That's going to be the primordial man, as we call it. He's called the kli, the primordial kli. And then we're going to be machnis into this mokum, not to be mistaken the vacuum, not to be mistaken the emptiness. Is kulo keli. That is synonymous with gvuros adinim. Okay, those are the rules. Is that clear?
Yes.
What? Yeah.
They talk about Bria, we're taking something away.
What do you mean?
It's about Yesh Mayim, really, we're taking something away.
Yeah, like I was magdim. You went here, but there's no musig be'etzem. Again, we find this lashon in the Rishonim, not to megareh. The Ramban, of Chumash Texas is Yesh Ma'ayin the Bria. But again, what? Gabe As is Yesh Ma'ayin. It's all be'erchim.
But also in Kabbalah, there's a madrega of Yesh and there's a madrega of Ayin as well. Okay,
again, this is all be'erchim. This is all the way we look at things. But etzim, everything's just an extension, another tzimtzum, and so as we'll see, in the future development, it's always a connection, always a yichud gom. Once you say yesh me'ayin, it's kilos netak. I've created something else. I created this stender and I walked away. It doesn't work that way. It's a flashlight example. The light is always coming up from the all, from the flashlight. As soon as it stops, it's gone. Everything is ne'adam. If it's yesh me'ayin, in fact, you created, it's finished. Okay, so let's. We got a few more minutes, so let's continue. Now, v'zeh mokom chalal hu ogul ba'ashva achas mikol tzadov. It was perfectly equal. And Mepharshim thinks this was in order to give hashpah to everybody equally. Because if you have a triangle or a square or a rectangle, not everything in the middle will be receiving the shefa the right degrees. עד שנמצא עולם האצילוס וכל העולמות נתונים בתוך החלל הזה ואור אין סוף מקיפו בשלווה מכל צדדים. So again, the picture is you have a round. The Arizal says the example given, the Arizal is onion. An onion. Imagine an onion. We're talking about 2D. We're talking about 3D. We're talking about this mokum tzimtzum, a round ball. A round ball. Keep that marshal here. Onion is a very, very meduic lotion.
Why do you want to use 3 dimensions as opposed to 2? It's only a marshal anyway. For the marshal, 2 dimensions is good enough.
Well, that is a big shaila. That's a big shaila. Whether tzimtzum is kipshuto or tzimtzum is kipshuto. It's a huge shaila. It's a huge shaila. In fact, some say it's the low kipshuto, and therefore it's a moshul, it's an imshul that actually never happened. And taka, this is the way we take on the pashtus, is taka is kipshuto. Now, even the pshuto is the club pshuto. I'm asking. But again, we're given reshus to medame things, to volume of any odom, medame things. So we're allowed to write pictures and things that So we have to have some mashal. If not, hit nishkan the ganze limud.
So you're saying like 3 dimensions is a better way of understanding.
The Arizal says it's an onion. That's the lotion there is in that time at the beginning of Shaar Igulim. It says, imagine an onion. Okay. Because we'll see there's layers and layers and layers, and that's the best marshal to be given here.
If you could go up from 3 dimensions to 4 to 5 if you want to make it more accurate.
I don't know what 4 and 5
it's hard for us to understand that.
It's hard to imagine 4 and 5 dimensions already. Okay, so actually nimsa olam atzilus. Olam atzilus doesn't mean the olam atzilus, because we know there's Adam Kadmon, atzilus, bri, yitzia. We're not talking about the atzilus. We're talking about, when he refers to atzilus at the point in stage, we're just talking about the creation in totality. The kol alamas, because we know this Ein Sof, that's Ein Sof alamas which are being built. Not nimtocha chalal hazeh. And now he's going to go into more details on how this is going to be brought about. And this is the Ohr Ein Sof makif b'shavi kol tzolin. We have the Ohr Ein Sof. Now, the way it starts off is that we're going to speak about the kav now. There's 2 elements, 2 bechinas that we're going to speak about here in the Ohr in this mokum tzimtzum. One is called the kav, and one is called the Igulim. This is a shaila which one came first. Which one? The Igulim came first, or the Kav came first? Okay, we'll speak about it a bit later. So he says as follows. V'hine, kasher tzimtzum atzmo, as deret tzad ichad min hachalal ha'ogol hazeh. One, he chose one particular direction where to start placing in this kav we'll speak about. Hemshich or derer kav ichad yosha dak ein sino ich. A lot of words here. Again, I repeat. Or derer kav ichad yosha dak ein sino ichad. A lot of verbs, adjectives, and nouns. Okay.
What does it mean before that? The line before derech tzad echad.
He chose out of this onion dugma one area to decide to put in this kav. Okay, and this kav was there on the kav, it was one kav, and it was Yosha, and it was Dak, and it was Keinsino, Icha. We'll explain this. Or hanimshach me'ein sof el toch hachalal hazeh umimale oso. So what does this mean exactly? So let me just fill you in with the mafashim a little bit to make sense out of this. But etzim, when there was a tzimtzum here, and we said there was a halal, and we translate in English words, so there was emptiness, there was nothing there. But the truth of the matter is, it not only, as we explained, there was the Ohr Gvul there, but more meduyek, the Mefarshim explains, and I think one of the first ones is the Ramaz in the back of the Otzrot Chaim. Taki says, Mefarshim there was speaking about there was left a residue. It's called the Shimas. Reshimo was there, and that is the building blocks of all the creation which is going to come after that. Okay, that is, he left over, he didn't restrain, he didn't take away all the light, there was still light there, we call it Ohr Gvul, or Dinin, and that was B'der Reshimo, sort of a residue left from the original light. Now, that is left in place, and now within there he is dropping a line, a kav ichad yoshodag ke'ein tzino. Now, are we talking about a kav in the tzino? Is the kav the Ohr it's hard to make out exactly what he's trying to refer to here. You know what I'm saying? Is it one thing, one kav yosher dak, one or there's an or in a kav, there's an or in a tzino, which is in the kav. It's not quite clear his lashon here. And also, he says memale oiso. And we see in the next line or so that we says it's an impossibility to memale kol halal, because as soon as you memale kol halal, choyzer kamo shahaya, and then you defeated your purpose. Right? There's no chokhmah of removing light and putting it back. That you haven't achieved anything. That's the kula alma, right?
There's a space here. You can make the space here. All this is.
In the halal, the space, right? But if you memale ois, like it's memale ois,
The whole
so
colour.
The whole challah.
Yeah.
But we're talking. I thought it means mamala the center.
memale the center. No, not memale. No.
Do you mean Mimale the cup?
No, there was a whole way where he made space for the cup to go through, but. Was in the Kudem
No, he didn't
of this whole big space.
No, you're only saying that because you're saying the pictures. He didn't leave. He didn't leave space for the calf. Again, we're talking about emptiness. We're talking about clapping the all which is coming in now, which is Ein Sof, which is in a higher madriga. And what's there already, it's as if there's nothing there, right? So now he's putting it now into this empty hole. It's going to be all right. It's coming in this kav. Now, is the kav the all? Or is the or der kav, and which is in the tzino? What's the volt?
The idea of a tzino is it's a kli itself, because it stops the Ohr going everywhere. So the tzino controls it, so it only goes into a certain place.
Right, and that's the volt thing. That's what he's adding in. First of all, it was a kav ichad. It wasn't two kav. Again, a principle of tzimtzum. He was only, and then he says it was yosha. It wasn't tak spread out. It was tak. It wasn't all right. It was dak. It was also very, very thin. All these adjectives to explain to us how it was very tzimtzum. This all mamish a dakistika, very dakistika all came in. Now it's ain't tzino. The tzino, like he's explaining, like he just told us, that is what's holding the lights in. So the tzino was there, and how did you look? The tzino came in with the all, or the tzino was there already?
Same time.
What do you mean same time? We're talking about the all's coming in now. They're a kav, they're a tzino.
So you got the same question about the creation of the challah itself. It's not something else. It was already there.
Right.
So you can say the tzino, the sides of the tzino were already there.
Already there.
Just Hashem made sure it stayed
But
there.
he didn't tell us. He should have told us. There was a halal, and he left the tzino there. He left the pipe there.
No,
the
challah, it's all part of the tzino. It's all part of the challah. It's all part of the
The
challah.
tzino is part of the halal. What are you getting this from?
I'm not talking about the light of the tzino. I talk about
now we're establishing first thing. First thing is that there's an all. That's the Ohr Ein Sof coming in. And we're saying now that the Ohr Ein Sof is going derech a kav. It's going derech a kav. It's going straight into a kav, which is called the tzino. Then the tzino is going through this funnel. So we have a funnel type of thing, and then we have a kav coming in. This is where the Mepharshim explain. We're asking now, where does the tzino come from? Is it coming from with the kav together, as the ohr is coming in, the kav is developing itself, the ohr with its keli, or was it there originally? So he's trying to say to us that it was already there, but it probably doesn't say that.
Yeah, but it's already.
So if you go with the Yesod of the Ramaz, that tells us that as he was mispashit, the ohr, the tzimtzum, he left Reshimo. Says the Reshimo, says the Mepharshim, the Reshimo is the kav. The Shima Taka, as we said, that's the building blocks of everything that was going to come. Those are Kelim. Those are the Kelim he's referring to over here. The Reshimo is the tzino. So now it's coming and it's filling up. Memale ois is filling up that kav, not the mokum halal. Again, not to make a mistake when he says memale oiso, but it's not talking about the whole mokum over here. Because again, chozer kamo shahaya, you haven't gained anything. Ma ravachta. But why he's coming in? The ohr is coming in, filling up this Reshimo, which is the tzur of a kav of a tzino, and it's being restrained by that tzino. And I'll tell you a big aside, just the next minute, that the Rav Shalom says there's a cloud that there can't be ohr in a keli, because if the ohr comes directly into the keli, it shatters the keli. It always has to have sort of a cushion. Would have to have a cushion in order for that to break the power of the ohr. right? There's a big yisoid in the Kavanas are called panim, called tzamid, those who learn Kavanas. And as you know, this is a process of Ohr being softened up by different partzufim in order for the keli to absorb this impact. It's sort of a moshe ba'ama of a shoe. A person has a shoe which is too big for his foot, he puts an insole. That's basically what it's all about. It says in Divrei Shalom, that's exactly what's happening over here. You have the mokum poner. Let him put the hole straight into there. What do you need the calf for? Teretz is that is the parts of a dag that we're going to speak about later on, which is sort of the mechitza between the mokum, the keli, and the Ohr which is coming in order to, again, another form of miniature tzimtzum, in order for the Kabbalah, this Metzias will be created in order to be able to accept the light. Okay, so we'll stop here and then